So, guys, we have a 12-team Superflex PPR 1.75 for the tight end start 10. Scott, are you going Jameson Williams or a 2026 first? Go ahead, man.
Well, welcome back to point scoring season or actual NFL season changing dynasty values. It's crazy that this question is even up on the stream, and it's fitting that we started the year with a Jameson Williams for a first trade. I'm going to still take the first, but I do think we have to reassess information. I'll be curious to hear what Shane says, but listen, both him and I are willing to adjust. I've adjusted so many things over the years. Being a content creator, being an analyst, there are many times where we're wrong. A lot of my wrongs have been process wrongs versus player wrongs because I typically don't care much about players. Everybody knows that. So with the process, I think it's fair to take a first and just bank the fact that it's not even a bet against JMO. It's a bet against JMO being an asset that I cannot replace cheaper. I think that is where this argument still is the first for me. Because I think there are ways where I can hack the spot that JMO is in on my roster, whether I started him or not. Now, that's a different conversation, but I'll be honest. I don't have any JMO, but I'm curious the people that have him, how many of them started him in week 1? Some did, but not
in start
11s,
not in start 9s. Nobody was starting a JMO.
Correct. And there was a lot of leagues where he would have been on your bench unless it was deep enough where you're like, anybody that I'm considering a starter on a team is probably starting in my lineup. So I'll take the first, but that's more of a process move. That is not a JMO's still not good. That is not a he's complete trash. He'll never produce. Got to reassess. I'm curious what Shane says because, I mean, he is known for the JMO takes. And even Shane, I will give Shane credit. He is always willing to assess new information and admit when maybe, and a lot of times it's when with his actions and not his words, admit where maybe things have to be reassessed a little bit. Shane, what say you on JMO or a 26 first?
I'm still going to take the 26 first, but, I'll just put this out there. I already traded for JMO in a league. I gave up a 25 first late for JMO and Aaron Rodgers. Competing team, start 11, needed a starting wide receiver, and I needed a quarterback because my quarterback is Deshaun Watson. And I had a 5 first-round rookie picks in that 2025 pick. So that was the perfect storm, right? Like if you're going to do it in a league, that's the league I was going to do it in. But I've offered, I forget, I know it was in the league, one of the leagues, me and Scott are in running gun. I sent another offer out there for JMO. I sent like a couple seconds for him. So I'll buy him. You have to reassess. He just had a very, very, very good targets per route run. He ran a lot of routes. He was involved. He looked really good. So, you could hold on to your takes just for hatred, but no, you got, like Scott said, you have to reassess new information. It's only 1 week, right? You don't want to get over your head, but that's why I'm probably not getting the 26 first. Now, if he goes out next week, the route participation is the same. The target share is a little lower, maybe targets per route run is a little lower, but, and his production's lower, but I can see that he's still heavily involved. Yeah. Then I think I'll sincerely think about just a straight up first for him. 26 is even better than 25, obviously.
It's only 1 week, but I'll just say this. He did 2 things. It's really one thing, but he did 2 things that this is one of the reasons I think Shane's reassessing. He still had a 32% target share. It's just 1 game, but that's against 3 other players that we considered first round redraft picks or close to it. So to go out there and just literally out target Gibbs, Laporta, and Amon-Ra, just 1 given game, right? But then he also had 84% of the air yards for the team. So that's like the Chris Olave model from rookie year, right? Like he didn't convert it to fantasy points, but he's getting all the targets and he's getting all the kind of targets that lead to fantasy points. But what did he do, Shane? He also had a shit ton of fantasy points. So it's not like he caught 2 bombs and now you're saying JMO is the stud of the Lions.
Right.
Like what he did, I'm not saying he's the best player on the Lions, but what he did points towards he's closer to being in the Laporta, Amon-Ra, Gibbs group as part of a good team versus he's the peripheral Gabe Davis, MVS type production where, oh yeah, he's not going to get those 2 touchdowns. Like there's a big difference between JMO and Xavier Worthy, how they scored their points in week 1. Not saying it's JMO over Xavier Worthy, but this is where I think you have to look a little bit deeper.
One of those 2 is more sustainable than the other, and that's the thing. Like you said, it's the participation. That's just the word I'm going to keep using. Participation, the target share. That's not what I expected. I expected JMO to be a 15% target share type of guy, like Scott said, that pops on a couple big plays here and there. And 1 week he's going to put up 40 points, and I'm going to go, oh, you fools are all buying in now. And making fun of everyone the next week when he's not involved at all. Now, again, that could happen, but the way week 1 went, it doesn't lend itself to that being how they want to use him.
So real quick, cross positionally, are you going JMO or Rashad White?
Give me JMO. Give me JMO. Only because I think it's a running back. And I think if JMO does this again, there's already going to be a hive of people that are buying in. I mean, Shane's already kind of buying in. This is the biggest JMO hater out there. So I'm just saying, if him and I are sitting here actually reassessing, there's going to be other people that are going to go, maybe I should reassess. Maybe I should be looking a little closer at Amon-Ra versus JMO, because it's not just going to be us. It's going to be other fantasy creators and analysts that are going, wait a second, what he's doing is actually pretty sustainable within the offense. You want to have some JMO in your back pocket instead of Rashad White. You can't move Rashad White. What can Rashad White do for you to be able to move him? Other than you hope he produces and catches 6 balls like he did in week 1. But I mean, he just did what he did last year in week 1. Okay, what is that actually getting me asset-wise? So I think you have to think about it that way.
Sounds good. All right. So, man, starting the week 1 recap with JMO. That is, look at where we are. So Izzy got us 3 hammers. Thank you very much on buymeacoffee.com/trades-in-5. Some of these may be a little stale after week 1, so we apologize in advance for that. Have a plan to fix that. You can still put your hammers in, and we'll respond with videos. So that will be cool. But if it's brutal in terms of the question and the values now, then just hit us up. Okay, so Izzy, thank you very much. He said, join the squad. Love the show. Thank you so much, Izzy. 10-team Superflex, PPR, start 10. It's 6 point per passing touchdown. He says 3 of them are flexes. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, JJ McCarthy, Penix at quarterback, Bijan, Gibbs, Rashad White, Mostert, Zamir White, Warren, Brooks. And then at wide receiver has Dell, Flowers, JSN, Addison, and Worthy. Over roster by 4. So he's 4 players heavy. Trade. So he's giving Rashad White, Flowers, and Coleman, and also a 3rd, and getting Amon-Ra St. Brown. So giving Rashad, Flowers, Keon Coleman, and a 3rd, getting ARSB. Does that push me over the edge, or am I losing too much? How much do you think is too much for a hammer? Thanks for all you do. So this is actually, this is an interesting question after the JMO talk. So Shane, what do you think here, man? It's a 10 by 10.
Yeah, it's 10 by 10. So I'm giving up Flower. Yeah, no, I'm doing that deal. That was Rashad White, right? We were just
Rashad White, Flowers, Keon Coleman, and a 3rd.
Yeah,
you're getting Amon-Ra.
Right, Rashad White immediately comes up. I'm gonna go get ARSB. I know we just sat there and talked about how much we were impressed by JMO in week 1, but I'm not ready to pour the dirt on ARSB just yet. So, I'll do that all day. Give me ARSB, baby.
What do you think here, Scott? Is that like kind of a few things, some stuff for Amon-Ra?
Yeah, I mean, you're giving up Flowers, who I think Flowers was not used in the way that I thought they could use him, but he's still a good asset. The other factor here is that you already said you're way over the roster limit. So I'm assuming that's the outdated part of the question, and that he's not 4 over the roster limit because you couldn't have set a lineup in week 1.
Right.
But that was another factor that if you're up against a roster limit, or you're looking at your team going, okay, I really want to pick somebody up off waivers or something like that, like having a couple free spots doesn't hurt, especially in a 10 by 10. I mean, if this is a 12 by I'll just be real. There's 12 by 12 leagues I'm looking to free up roster spots, let alone a 10 by 10 where roster spots are, if I can get something that is consolidatable, then boom, I'm doing that. So I think this is maybe that is me making up a word, consolidatable. When Shane looks at me with those eyes, like that's not a word, is it?
Scott made up a word.
I made up a word. We're starting a
Scott
new season
versus
strong.
English language.
He absolutely made up a word.
Yeah, I did. I think I did. I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure I've never heard anybody use that before.
There's that stuff
Consider
that
this
can't
to
be a word.
The one and only time. But yeah, I mean, the process of just freeing up those two spots, even if he didn't add that context to the question, pushes me over the edge even more. To take it to the current context, Keon Coleman's an interesting one. In terms of all it takes is another game or two for him, and all of a sudden, like there's room for somebody to emerge. But I'm still taking the Amon-Ra side for anything. I think if you wanted to then move Amon-Ra, you probably could do that, given some of the production from other players in week one. You could probably still move Amon-Ra if you wanted to move him. So yeah, I'm taking that side pretty easily here.
Okay. Sounds good. Izzy, thanks so much for the hammers. Appreciate it. We will keep moving on here. Let's go to Stevie Johnson 13. Thank you for yours. So I should also throw out there too, if you're new listening, welcome. Hit the subscribe and like. But when we're saying start 9, start 10, what we mean is how many players you start each week in your lineup, not including kicker and defense. So start 8, start 9. Those are shallow formats where you just want to consolidate and get hammers, as we call them. Deeper ones, start 11, start 12. That's where the Rashid Shaheeds of the world are actually extremely relevant. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Stevie Johnson 13, thank you for the hammer. It is a 12-team 1 QB PPR start 7. So ultra shallow, 23-man roster. Scott, here's his team: Allen, Herbert, McCarthy at quarterback, Henry, Spears, Brooks, Chase Brown, Jalen Wright at running back, AJ Brown, Puka, Neighbors, Diggs, Deontay, Gabe, and then as Kincaid, McBride, Freiermuth, and Komet at tight end. All future picks. Trade ideas or just stay pat. Trading for hammers is impossible, so got to hit the draft. Only have to start one running back. So hope Henry has a year left in the tank, then Brooks becomes a running back 1, excuse me. Scott, what do you think here? It's super shallow. 12 teams, start 7. What do you think about this team? Any thoughts?
Well, first of all, start 7 is absurdly shallow. It is 1 QB, but still, start 7 is absurdly shallow, and it doesn't fit. And again, you do you play in the leagues you want to play with or play in, but this format it doesn't match well with how production is across the NFL, right? It's very easy, even for the most novice player, to come into this league and go, oh, only about 20 players even matter. And I'm just not trading those. So it makes sense when he says no hammers are available to be traded for. Like you can't pay enough in volume to get an elite player. So I think the next best idea is either speculate on players you think are not costing you elite prices and go get them, or you just liquidate for draft picks and just take shots that you can get an elite player or get to an elite player when you get to the point where everything is a draft pick instead of a player, which is going to happen down the road. So I would look at this team and go, okay, Shane, on this roster, what is something that I can plant my flag on and be confident that it is an elite player within the next 9 to 12 months? You got Josh Allen. AJ Brown. You have, we're probably still willing to make that bet on Malik Neighbors.
Yes.
And
Puka.
then one of the tight ends. Puka, you can probably throw in there, and then one of the tight ends.
McBride. Yeah. McBride, if I had to bet. Gun to my head.
You have 2 top 4 tight ends. You're betting on one of them, right? So aside from those guys, do any of the other players matter, Shane?
Not in start 7. No, sir.
So you'd be willing to trade away any of Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, Stephon Diggs, Deontay Johnson, one of the tight ends, if they have a game or two where someone's willing to give you the appropriate pick price, which here, the appropriate pick price is just getting picks. Like give me enough picks to where next year I I have 3 firsts, I have 4 seconds. Like I just want volume. And my expectation is like one of those picks I can move to get an elite asset. And I might have to draft the elite asset, but that would be my idea. Like it's too shallow. You can't trade for hammers. You can either speculate on guys that don't cost you hammer prices or just roll with whatever filler you have besides the hammers you already have on your roster.
So Sean from the audience, here's one that was starred. Shane, let's start with you here. So good question. When you're a competing team, are you willing to trust the process and sell players like Mason to another top 3 team for a second, or is it better to let them loose? What do you think?
Oh, that's interesting because someone did the opposite to me yesterday. Last night was Monday, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Someone, I'm not going to mention any names, might have forgot to put in the auto sub after actually doing a podcast about it and talking about it like nonstop. Forgot to use the auto sub. So they had Christian McCaffrey going and no one else. And look, I'm on record of saying 1 win matters in fantasy, right? It's 13 weeks. So 1 win is 1/13th. What's that work out to, Scott? At least 10%, less than 10%. It's less than 10%. It's enough. So anywho, I traded a second and got back Jordan Mason in like a 4th because I wanted to win. That simple. So what should you do? You should probably trust the process and sell Jordan Mason for a second because that's very short-sighted. Now, part of it is Christian McCaffrey's dealing with a calf and an Achilles injury, right? An Achilles injury. I've never heard of an Achilles injury that's not a ruptured or torn Achilles. I'm very, very, very perplexed about how that's going to work out. So he might miss next week, but I got to think there might be more time that he might miss. So if you wanted to hold on to Mason, I wouldn't be completely opposed to it. It's probably the smarter move to actually move him for the second.
Yeah, what do you think here, Scott? And I'm kind of just going to reread it real quick. When you're a competing team, are you willing to trust the process and sell guys like Mason to another top 3 team for a second, or is it better to just let them loose? The way it was asked, to another top 3 team, it's kind of like, are you worried about, feeding this other contender Mason right now and potentially giving him a couple more wins? I mean, it sounds like he's going to be making the playoffs anyway. Like, you see what I'm getting at? Go ahead.
So let's just kind of set this straight. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on this show. But he has Achilles tendonitis, which I've had that, so I can speak to how it affected a 40-year-old wannabe weekend warrior, former power lifter that's really not in as good a shape as I used to be. But it hurt. Like I limped around. Like I literally had to go to the doctor, and I'm like, are you sure I didn't tear my Achilles? Like that's how bad it was. But it went away. So I think the question is, okay, why is this a continual issue? Did it get re-aggravated? I've seen numerous people on Twitter saying, it's the chronic nature of what this is the worrisome part. Like if he's good and then it happens again, like why is it happening, right? But I don't think he's at risk of like, okay, he's injured. That means he's going to tear it in week 6. You know what I mean? So I do think you have to look at Mason and say he's a short-term bet. He is a UDFA running back that's been there for 2 years already. Here's the question. If McCaffrey were to be ruled out for the season tomorrow, are you getting a first for Jordan Mason? Yes or no, Shane?
I bet you I would.
Okay.
100%. I would give one. I bet I would give one. And
yeah, this isn't Devin Singletary.
Teams.
This isn't Devin Singletary where someone would go, I don't care if the whole team is dead. I'm not giving you a first for that guy. But go ahead, sorry.
No, but that is the analysis when you're talking running backs. It's the part of what you're holding and you're hesitant to sell is he's going to give the other team points, but it's also how do we value the handcuff running back in this situation that at any moment the starter could pop and you're going, okay, I wish I had Jordan Mason. So that it makes you really think about, I saw another earlier question in here about Chuba Hubbard. Like that's the opposite. Chuba Hubbard's probably as good or better than Jordan Mason, but you know what? He's on the Panthers and they're awful. So I don't care how many touches Chuba Hubbard gets. You're probably never getting anything for him shy of, does somebody else need him right now for the 11 points he might score? Mm-hmm. That's his market. So unless your team is built around actually using that, then he doesn't have any value. Whereas Jordan Mason, you guys just said if McCaffrey were to be gone and like they just have other bodies around him in the
Giddy
backfield,
up, man.
like he's a real asset. And how many running backs can you say that about, Shane, that are real assets? Maybe 6 to 8 at best.
Yeah, that's generous.
7. That's
Yeah.
the exact
Okay,
number.
The point is, if you're telling me
so it's a perfect range.
he gets to like real asset value if he has like some predictable, even like half-ass long-term use, then I'm not just getting rid of him for a second. But if you go, I don't care about that, I'm just playing the odds, take the second, because you should be able to replace him cheaper. Or if you have a roster that was using Jordan Mason, you probably have another guy on the bench that in 2 weeks could be the next Jordan Mason, and you don't even see it coming. So it really is a test of the process when you know the situation. I mean, dude, he steps in on, apparently he had 3 days notice, but he steps in on 2 hours notice and scores 27 points or whatever. It's like, it's just, what else could you ask for? Like, you're starting him if he's starting and he's an RB1 every week.
Right. No, it's cool, man. It was fun to see him run. He did have some massive holes to run through, with that being said. Okay, Hammer from Clue, thank you very much, says, first time sender, long time supporter, love the content. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're coming up on what? Is it 3 years this October? Crazy, man. Time flies. Time flies. Having fun. So this is a Shane 10-team Superflex PPR start 9, not including kicker and defense. Stroud, Kyler, Nix at quarterback. We have Jonathan Brooks, Tajay Spears, Warren, Trey Benson, Dowdle at running back. CD, Marv, Rashi Rice, JSN, Cup, and then Laporta and 325 first. And Clue says 1 is early, 1 is late, and then his or hers. Would you push the chips in with this team to get a hammer running back, or just ride it out and play for next year when Brooks/Benson should be better in a big RB class? What do you think here, Shane? 10-team Superflex, start 9 PPR. Very shallow.
Do we have the team to push in for a title? I mean, CD and Cup. I mean, Cup's going to have 315 targets, so maybe. We were just talking about how much we like Rice. Yeah, if Marvin Harrison hits, you actually do have a very good team. But there's no rush to buy a running back right at this moment, because even if you give up a first, what running back are you getting back? You're going to get Rachaad White. And is Rachaad White the difference between you winning a title this year and or not? Probably not. So why don't we just see how this goes first before we start moving our 25 picks? Again, you talked about how good that class was. If anything, I'm looking at Brooks and going, can I get a running back from someone else for him? But yeah, I don't know if you can or not. But I don't want to give up my 25 picks now.
Yeah, in a shallow format like that, it's almost like, yeah, push your chips in. I feel like you always are just trying to win every year. Who knows? Okay, so let me move on to the next one here. This is 5 hammers from M Bragg 13. Thank you so much. He says, appreciate the content, fellas. So Scott, we're going to start with you. This is a shallow 12-team 1QB PPR start 8. Mahomes, Watson, Mayfield at quarterback. James Cook, Achane, Ken Walker, Bigsby at running back. JJ, Amon-Ra, Marv, Polk, and Trash Cans at wide receiver. McBride, Musgrave at tight ends, all future picks. Moves can I make? Can I make any moves to put me over the top? It's hard to make significant trades as most think they can compete. Wait till midseason to try to add another hammer. Coming back off of back-to-back last place finishes. Top 3 contender after 2 super teams. Okay, good stuff. Turned it around. Scott, it is a 12-team 1QB start 8. What are you doing with this team? Got 5 hammers from M Bragg. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll put a little time into this one, even though everything I said earlier about the 12-by-7 league pretty much applies here too. You know, you're really looking at the hammer level players, or the, what do you like to call them, Shane? The crooked weakers.
Yes.
That you want. And you have a couple of them. You have a potentially elite tight end. I mean, you have Achane, you have Mahomes. You have Jefferson. You have Marvin, Amon-Ross. I mean, like, you certainly have the assets that fit. This team can win, right? Like, you already have the dynasty value and the assets built up. It doesn't mean the team's guaranteed to win. That's the part of playing in a start 8. There's probably teams that were starting players where you're going, there's no way that's a hammer, but then they had a hammer week or they have a hammer month. And you're kind of questioning, okay, why is my Marvin Harrison wide receiver 39 through a month? What's going on? Like, he's not a hammer. So then you have to kind of do a little bit of an assessment of how do I get there? So, I mean, it's always going to be volatility in shallow leagues. So here's what I would say. I can't state this enough. When you have a team like this, you have to be very clear on who your hammers are. Even if I'm maybe willing to bet slightly against one of them, it doesn't matter. You have to really categorize, okay, who are my hammers on this team, Shane? Name them. Just off the top of your head.
Mahomes.
Back of your mind. Yep, Mahomes. Even in a 1 QB, Mahomes.
Achane, JJ, ARSB, Marvin Harrison, McBride.
Okay.
That's it.
Stop there.
You stop.
You have 6 hammers.
And
Right? You have 6 hammers.
8. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You have 6. The
6,
focus should be, how do I turn everything else into something that can help me move away or pivot if I need to off of one of the guys that I value as a hammer, but maybe somebody else doesn't, or eventually color up to something better down the road. I can't do it right now, but I mean, what can you add to all the players that are not hammers on your team to go get one? The answer in most leagues is nothing. Nobody wants James Cook. Nobody really wants Baker Mayfield or Deshaun Watson in a 1 QB. They don't help. Luke Musgrave, useless. Jalen Polk, useless. Like, you could add 20 players like that. Nobody's trading you an upgrade. So knowing that's true, I'm going to kick it to my co-host here, Shane. When do you pull the plug on somebody like Luke Musgrave, Shane, and just take a third, a fourth?
I would have already euthanized
yesterday.
Yeah,
okay.
Like he'd already been euthanized.
But the point is, anything but him, right? Something more flexible, even if it's a third, which could eventually maybe be a better third, and then eventually maybe be a second. Like that's how you get there, because nobody is ever going to value somebody like Luke Musgrave in the trade. Like, what's the point of having him? Now, there's some other players on there that are intriguing. I think you might be able to sell somebody on Ken Walker.
Yeah.
That's one you could sell off of a good game in week 1. Tank Bigsby, you never know. He gets a game where he's standalone starter and people all of a sudden are interested. So I think there's some pieces here, but it's just not, you can't go here. I'm going to go trade James Cook, Tank Bigsby, Jalen Polk, and Luke Musgrave and 2 seconds and get a hammer. No. Like, it's just not going to work.
Is this a Puka team? Is this a good team to maybe look at acquiring him?
What's the Puka hammer look like here? How do you get him?
Yeah, I know that's the thing, right? So Ken Walker, how close are we?
Ken Walker, a first, and James Cook for Puka.
You can start with Ken Walker and a first maximum. Hopefully, people aren't going to be wanting more than that for Puka. We just did a show on him. Dynasty Trades in 5. Hit that subscribe. That will be coming.
Shane, what would you give up from his team that's not in the hammer category for Cooper Kupp?
James Cook, Ken Walker, Bigsby.
Would you give James Cook, Jalen Polk, and a first for Cooper Kupp?
Yes.
Yes.
If you're willing to buy old,
play it like redraft.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I don't know what else to say about leagues that are this shallow, because most of the people listening that ask questions about shallow leagues like this, what do they usually throw in there? Yeah, I've already tried to get all the hammers and they're unavailable.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
With me.
Correct.
No, it was a good question. It's good talking about shallow formats every once in a while, because it also helps just frame in what a deep one is and what our standard start 10 is. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's keep moving here. We don't stop. Jaylen Ramsey.
Because we can't stop.
Because we can't stop.
I didn't mean to do that. I couldn't help it.
Well, you're laggy as a punishment, apparently. I hope you don't spread that lag to me. It has been brutal the past couple weeks. Jaylen Ramsey, thank you so much for giving us 2 hammers. Appreciate it. So this is a 10-team Superflex half PPR, start 9. Scott, or let's start with Shane. Kyler Baker at quarterback, Ramondre Najee Moss at running back, CD Chase Marv Neighbors at wide receiver, Freiermuth at tight end. Jaylen Ramsey has 325 first. Traded JJ for Marv and a late first. Then Purdy and Ingram for Baker, Freiermuth, and a mid first. How did I do? Well, after seeing this week, what do you think here, man? First one, Shane, 10-team Superflex, start 9, half PPR, traded JJ for Marv and a late first.
So the problem is it's 10 by 9, right? So why am I tearing off of JJ? And whatever, Marvin Harrison had two targets, but again, he was on the field for literally just about every snap that wasn't 12 personnel. So it's not like he wasn't involved. It was one game. I'm not concerned about that at all. But the hope is that Marvin Harrison someday will turn into JJ. That's right. I already have JJ. 10 by 9. I don't need to be doing this. I don't need to be tearing off of JJ, especially when I already have Chase, CD, and Neighbors. And 325 first, I'm assuming he got that after this. But I like the Purdy and Ingram for Baker and Muth in a mid-first deal. I like that. So if you put all these things together, I like the deal not as less as I thought I did. If you just look at JJ and Marvin Harrison in first in a vacuum. So there you go. I'd say it's 60-40 the other side.
Scott, what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he had an excess of picks, so he was able to trade one away, and then he got one back in the other deal. I don't know if he did it before or after the season, but you probably don't feel awful about the Purdy for Baker deal. It is a 10-teamer, so I think the threshold of which QBs matter is much higher in a 10-teamer, so I think you traded away from a range that, you know, you could be okay with making that swap. I do agree with Shane on the if you just combine the 2 trades, I probably would have said, okay, I just would take the Jefferson and Purdy side. And, you know, what else did I give up in a 10 by 9? Did I give up much when I traded Pat Freiermuth away? You know what I mean? Like that's one of the pieces that's a little bit of a difference. I mean, yeah, you gave up Evan Ingram as well, but, you know, you look at the roster, it's like if you're willing to just punt tight end in a non-premium start 9, you're either going to be right or wrong on going from Ingram to Freiermuth. So I think here, what's the next move? That would be my takeaway, is what is the next move here? Because we definitely don't want to do another move where we are tearing down, but just what is the next move? I'm curious. That's a rhetorical question, and we'll move on.
In a shallow format like this, if I'm able to collect 3, here's Jaylen Ramsey right here, able to collect 3 plus 25 first, maybe it's just showing the value of first in your league. I am using those 25 first for running backs in 2020. Yeah, in next class, 25 first, using those for running backs in a 10-team half PPR start 9. You know, that's kind of how I've place held. Are we all shaving tonight? I am right now. But that's kind of where I see those 25 first being.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, he has 3 running backs that were good in week 1. So you made it a week.
Yeah.
But how long is that actually going to last? So we'll see.
Second part is also, can Shane compliment me, Jaylen Ramsey?
Yes, I like that second deal. That second deal was good. And sometimes that's what it's about. That laggy. Sometimes that's what it's about, right? You make it's not a bad trade, the Marvin Harrison trade. It's just not a trade that I'd feel good about. So then you come back and you make another deal that you win. And guess what? You're back up, baby. You're back up. So good job there, Jaylen. I appreciate your perseverance, and I'm sure you have a lovely smile. Maybe, probably.
I think he just wanted you to like compliment Jaylen Ramsey, like the football player. Is it
the football player?
Ramsey sent it
who was he covering this week? Was he covering BTJ?
I don't know. I don't know.
BTJ scored a touchdown on him.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know that that's true, but I'm just going to say that he mossed, BTJ mossed Jaylen Ramsey. So that was pretty cool. Yes.
From the crowd, from Rayos 312, do I spend all my fab on kick returners in Scott Fishbowl? Raheem Blackshear, for example.
Yeah, Scott Fishbowl scoring is what's the word for broken? It is broken, bro. Definitely.
Okay.
Yep. People think this is crazy, but the number one overall player just edging out Saquon Barkley last week was Raheem Blackshear, and he had 0 offensive touches. And a top 7 player, Blake Groupie, kicker.
Who?
Oh, I love Blake Groupie.
So if you do the math, Blake Groupie kicked a shit ton of extra points and field goals, and then he kicked off a ton to Raheem Blackshear, who returned like 10 kicks. So there you go. If you can correlate the kicker that's going to kick to the kick returner, that's how you win Scott Fishbowl. Not getting Josh Allen or Bijan or Justin Jefferson. It is Raheem Blackshear and kickers.
So real quick, is this sleeper is telling me how many people have picked the player up? Because they're telling me 1.5 million people have picked up Allen Lazard. Is there 1.5 million people playing on sleeper?
There is. There are 600 and some thousand dynasty leagues on sleeper.
Jesus,
and redraft is probably, yeah.
You absolute degenerates, but that is awesome. I did not notice that. But yeah, 1.5 million people have picked up Allen Lazard. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move to another one that we have starred here from Dustin DeKoning. Need some opinions. Scott, Jaleel just went for a first and Justice Hill in my league. Am I crazy to think collusion? Kamish said the guy is just dumb.
I mean, I can believe the latter. There are a lot of unintelligent people out there that are playing Dynasty and just in the world in general. But like, how can you say it's collusion unless you have a theory as to how they colluded? I mean, if you know they're brothers, or we've seen people that, oh yeah, my wife is in the league. You know what I mean? Okay, that if it's that and it's that obvious, then sure. But I mean, Shane, how do you even prove there's collusion? I mean, if they're stupid, they're stupid. It's a dumb trade, obviously.
Mitch said the guy's just dumb. Like, what does the rest of the league think? Do they think he's just dumb as well, or are they mad like Dustin? What do you think, Shane?
I mean, there's lots of dumb people in the world. I mean, I think people always underestimate how much stupid there is, because a lot of people are actually part of that group, so they can't even recognize it. But yeah, short of someone flat out admitting that they've committed collusion, I don't know how you prove it. You know what I mean? And real life's hard enough. I'm not trying to play fucking Inspector Gadget in the fantasy league to determine if someone played collusion. Like, oh, pull your phone records, I want to see them. Like, I'll assume stupidity and move on, and try to trade with that person.
Just speak to if this happened in one of our leagues, we wouldn't do anything.
No, I would send offers to the dude that got.
Just immediately. Yeah,
I didn't
prey on that person.
I would not even say anything. Like, there would no like, people would go into the messages with the eye emojis, the fire, and then talking shit. Like, what's wrong with you? Meanwhile, I'm just like, send
an offer. It's like, don't listen to the people in the league chat.
There's like, a lion devouring that dead carcass, and Shane is just going to go and start trying to do the same.
Yes.
I don't waste your time complaining. Just try to take advantage.
Give me some of the marrow. Yes, suck that sweet, sweet marrow from their soul.
Scott, this is a 12-team PPR start 10. It's 1.5 for the tight ends. Thank you for the hammer, Juri. The quarterback room is Kyler, Goff, Cousins. Yeah. Jacobs, Kamara, Mostert at running back. Amon-Ra, London, Adams, Evans, Keenan Allen at wide receiver. Goddard, Conklin at tight end. The activity is high. Trade Amon-Ra for Mahomes or Kyler and my 25 first for Mahomes. Yeah, that's it. That's the question.
I'll keep this simple. I will trade Amon-Ra St. Brown for Patrick Mahomes on any roster, even if I have 4 other elite quarterbacks.
Yep.
And one hammer. The answer is yes, and just figure out the rest.
And or Kyler and my 25 first for Mahomes. Would you be
We
sweating doing that?
don't even get to the second deal if the first one is available.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna assume that you can't get Patrick Mahomes for Amon Ra.
He's asking the question.
Well, he asked it before week 1. Anyway. Yeah. Somebody else talk. I don't know what to say right now.
Yes.
I mean, it's one hammer. The answer is yes.
Yes.
I'm not even looking at the second one because the first one is so obvious.
It's done. Is a smash. No, yeah. Sounds good. Thanks for the hammer, Juri. So awkward, at least for my position here. All right, let's move to 4 hammers from Sean Patrick. Thank you very much. And again, this is buymeacoffee.com/trades-in-5. You can donate hammers. Their coffee is on the website, but we will be getting to them much more quickly given we have only a week to work with. Okay, Sean, thank you for the 4 hammers. Shane, 10-team Superflex PPR start 9. T-Law, May, Geno, Levis, Fields at quarterback. Javonte, Warren, Brown, Charbonnet, and Trash at running back. London, Neighbors, Adunze, and then Ferguson and Likely at tight end. 325 firsts, 225 seconds, and the rest of the futures should be able to tank to bottom 2 while selling as much as possible outside of the core players. Curious on how you guys would approach selling/buying with this team. Cheers. So Shane, this is a shallow 10-team Superflex PPR start 9. You said should be able to tank to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
How would you approach selling and buying with this team?
I mean, I assume that he's got 325 first. Okay, so I assume that he's already tried to trade Geno, Fields. I almost don't want to trade Levis because that dude's going to get benched. Fucking trash can. Sorry. You're trying to get rid of every one of those running backs, right? I'd be getting rid of Charbs because I'm assuming that it's max points 4. And if Walker misses any time and Charb gets in there, I'd be looking to sell him too. London, apparently, you can continue to hold on because, what did he score? 4 points last week? Whatever. I mean, it's obvious you're trying to move the people that can get points, right? That's how you're tanking to the bottom. I think I'd probably sell T-Law too because in a 10-by-9, T-Law doesn't really matter. So he matters enough that he's going to put some points up, and I'm going to be annoyed when I finish 4th overall, 4th worst instead of 2nd worst. So, yeah, I'll get rid of T-Law, Geno. Levis is starting right now. So Levis, Fields, who apparently might get another start, he gone. Javonte gone. Warren gone. Brown gone. Charb gone. Hold on to the cans, starting them every week. If one of them gets good, moving them.
Just refresh, hitting the refresh button, huh?
Yeah.
Just blowing her up.
Isaiah Likely, are you moving him, Shane?
Oh, he's gone. Isaiah Likely gone.
He was already gone.
Yeah. London gone in case he actually does improve, because then I don't think he'll improve enough to be elite. So he'll just be like in that sweet spot of giving me too many points that I don't need. So there you go. I would hold on to Neighbors, Adunze, and if you move everyone else, hold on to London. So London, Neighbors, and Adunze. Everybody else, they can go. And I'm not getting particular. I'm not getting particular. Like, you're offering me a 3rd for Chase Brown. Congratulations. You want to do a 2-fer? You want Chase Brown and Warren? Sure. You get both of them for a 2027 second. Let's go.
Scott, we got 4 hammers. Yeah, from Sean Patrick. What do you think here?
Well, I was just going to say, if you want a bigger example of the microcosm of today's Dynasty game, Isaiah Likely has now passed Mark Andrews on Keep Trade Cut. He has passed TJ Hawkinson, who, for everything he's done, just didn't play week 1, so he has to move down. But Isaiah Likely is your new tight end 6. He has another good game, and Dalton Kincaid doesn't. He will pass Dalton Kincaid in due time.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean,
how many targets did Likely have?
In 1 week,
9 receptions. So
he has moved up 81 overall spots, even more if you're talking about the heavy tight end premium. So definitely the biggest riser of all players. At the same time, that's one of these players that, unless you truly are buying in, he's just another piece that you may never have another window to move other than right now. So I think exactly what Shane said. You're going through and like you may not be able to sell Jaylen Warren right now or Chase Brown right now or Drake London right now or Jake Ferguson for sure right now because he's going to miss a couple games. Your quarterbacks, I mean, maybe you can sell Geno Smith, but the point is there's going to be players you're not going to be able to sell because they're not in the midst of a good week and nobody really has them on their radar. But that should be the process the rest of the year is really moving off of these and also taking advantage of injuries. If you can tear up because of an injury, do it. Tight end gets injured that, like try to trade Isaiah Likely for TJ Hawkinson in a second.
Oh,
Something like that could work like that. If you can't get the pick value, try deals like that and be doing that the rest of the season. That is your one job is to be active, ensuring all the players in roster spots this year. It's not to score any points or nothing. That's it.
Yeah, it's fun in a different way. Shane, we got 3 hammers from T-Dubs. This is a 12-team, 1 QB, start 7 as well, PPR. Allen A. Rich at quarterback. Gibbs, Achane, Spears, Chase Brown, McLaughlin at running back. Amon-Ra, Wilson, Waddle, Olave, Dell, and then Kincaid, Musgrave at tight end. My 25 first, T-Dubs has, or 25 seconds, futures, and an extra 26 first. The trade is give 2 seconds and Jaleel for Monty. He says, bit of a pay to brag. I credit you guys helping me build this team. My only concern is my running backs both feel risky. This offer feels like an overpay. Should I lock up the Lions running backs? Thoughts? So he already has Gibbs, so he would be getting David Montgomery as well. 2 seconds and Jaleel for Monty in this really shallow format, Shane.
No, that's too much. It's too much. And I don't need him anyway. I got Gibbs, Achane, Spears. Well, maybe I do. Spears. He's got the wrong part of the tandems with Spears and Brown. But McLaughlin, for whatever it's worth, played more early downs than Javonte Williams in week 1. So somehow it looks like he's the actual starter. He didn't see as many targets as I would have hoped.
Javonte ran more routes and saw more targets. So apparently, Khalil McLaughlin is the early down grinder, and Javonte Williams is the satellite back.
Very weird. Very, very weird how they used them. But again, it's 1 week, right? Sean Payton trying out things because he's a genius, I've been told. Hey, Bo Nix look good. 2 seconds in Jaleel for Monty. It's only 12 by 7. 1 quarterback. Yeah, whatever. I'll do it. It's 12 by 7. Like, are you going to do better than this? Have you shopped around? Like, can you do better than this?
That's the thing is, can you do better? Because if I'm in a shallow league and I know that I'm having to just throw a dart at a RB2, if I'm losing Spears or Gibbs for a week or both, you know the kind of guys I want to throw in? Tajay Spears, Chase Brown, Jaleel McLaughlin. They're guys that are explosive, right? Like that's all I'm hoping for is a random crooked game. So if you feel better about the Lions backfield, then fine. You're still getting a tier up and you're using seconds and peripheral pieces to do it.
Are you starting all of that though? So start 7, we have Allen.
If you're not, what's the point?
Exactly. That's why I'm making sure. So it's Allen, Gibbs, let's say Monty, Achane, Amon-Ra. You've got 3 Lions there. Go ahead.
To be honest, Clay, the rest of the roster isn't strong enough for me to say that I can just get away with just taking the Lions backfield production or starting Montgomery in a flex and being fine with it. It's not, he had a good week 1, but it's not like he's going to average 19.5 points per game. Between him and Gibbs, you might get 32 points per game, something like that. And that's with one of them hitting, probably Gibbs hitting 18, 19, 20. Like I think in a shallow league like this, starting both Lions when you're also starting Olave, Waddle, if you had 6 other hammers and you said the one concession spot is I'm just riding with the Lions backfield, fine. But like you have some weaknesses. I mean, do you have a tight end good enough here?
Kincaid. It's at least I like how it's a stack at least, and Kincaid could still definitely be something.
Here's what I'd do. Can I sell Jahmyr Gibbs for a real asset if I acquire Monty? How about that?
So you get Monty and then flip Jahmyr Gibbs.
Can I sell Jahmyr Gibbs
Rice
in my
and
extra 26 first for CD Lamb?
Now we're
And
talking.
then I'll live with just whatever David Montgomery gets me because I'm getting a good deal on Montgomery. But like, if you get Montgomery on this team, Shane, are you flexing him over Chris Olave or Tank Dell?
No, sir.
Okay. So why are you getting him? To handcuff the guy you're scared of? Like, do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't even think
right.
of their handcuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I guess the arrival is it's a
Wouldn't
fair
do that
price.
kind of trade.
What's
No.
the purpose of doing it?
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay. So let's go to weekly strategy question from Alex. Hope you're well, sir. Happy Tuesday. It is, he's going to call it WSQ. When moving from rebuilder to contender, how do you treat guys like Mason? Hold to use or sell high after last night? What's your approach? So we talked about Mason some earlier, but either you guys want to chime in first. You're moving from a rebuilder to a contender. How does Mason play into that?
I'm a contender. I mean, we just kind of talked about it earlier, right? He's a piece that could appreciate in value, so I'm okay with holding on to him if you choose to. And then you get the added benefit of, hey, I get to use him every week while I'm contending. So that's nice until, obviously CMC's back. And then guess what he's worth? He's worth absolutely nothing. As soon as CMC comes back, he goes from second round rookie pick value to 0 value. So, I mean, I guess the more prudent move is just move him, right? And if you happen to be wrong, well, guess what? 9 times out of 10, you weren't. It won't really make that 1 out of 10 times feel better, but it's just the odds. So, yes, you should still be moving him.
But the CMC owner would be interested in that conversation.
Trade
Scott,
for
what do you
in
think?
2 weeks with that I've been seeing.
So I think one thing that I've learned, and I mean, I've learned this over years, but I think has really kind of hit me more so this year, is that if my team is truly rebuilding, right? Like I've conceded on the year, you have to remove I'm worried what somebody else is getting from me versus what I'm getting for my team. And I used to always be the one that was like, man, if I'm selling this quarterback, I have to get this. Otherwise, I'll eat it. And we talk about that all the time. Like, what is the value to you? Because there's a lot of people in here that maybe they aren't a contender. They're right on the fringe, right? They have Jordan Mason. They really don't want those points to be scored because, hate to say it, unless you had an ability to put him in for another player last night, you didn't start him.
Nope.
I have him in 9 leagues. You know how many I started him last night in? 1.
Sucks.
That's it. I missed out, and it wasn't my fault. I literally am like, okay, is there any way I can get him in? No. Am I starting a jet receiver not named Garrett Wilson? No. So there wasn't anybody to play him for. So I think we get way concerned on, okay, I'm rebuilding, but I don't want to give. I keep trying to talk to Shane, but he's blurry, so it's weird.
So it's weird.
It's like, I'm going to ask Shane a question, but he's blurry, so it's like, is he really there? Not.
I wasn't even moving. My camera was just like, whatever. I don't feel like working tonight.
Like, let's say I'm kind of like retooling. Like, I don't really care about Jordan Mason this year. Like, I don't want to give him to Shane for like 2/3 because that's all I'm getting offered in the moment. But I do have to look at like, okay, can I get 2/3 and Jameis Winston or Drew Lock or something else that I could maybe convert to a second down the road? But I can't look at it and go, well, I don't want Shane to win the deal, so I won't do the deal. And too many people do that. I mean, you guys just saw in our auction league today, I sold Derek Carr.
I missed that one. What was the trade?
Derek Carr in a 16-teamer where there's
that's a big
tons of teams without quarterbacks. I sold Derek Carr for 2 seconds and Khalil Herbert. And I wanted to charge more, but I sat there and I go, okay, I can't be concerned about what somebody else is getting. I'm only concerned with what it's doing for my team. And my team's a contender that just lost Jordan Love. So it's one of those teams where like I was uncomfortable doing the deal, but I mean, Shane, if Derek Carr gets hurt or has a terrible game Sunday, are you even trading him?
No.
I mean,
because you couldn't before this past week.
Right. Yeah. So I think the point is that type of deal when you're trading Jordan Mason on a rebuilder, you cannot be concerned that you are underselling what Twitter is telling you the price should be. Because the context is still valuing to your team what you're getting. You have to put play value on that. And a lot of people don't do that.
Let's go to 5 hammers from PlayTrunk 16. Thank you very much. Very generous. Shane, we're going to start with you here. So this is a 10-team Superflex PPR, 1.5 for the tight ends, start 10. Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Cousins, Rodgers at quarterback, Brees, Jacobs, Kamara, Connor, Mostert at running back, Tyreek, London, Olave, Diojon, D-Hop, and A.D. Mitchell makes the list. Ingram, Musgrave, Fant at tight end. 25 first, 326 first. Here's a trade for you, Shane. Give Love his 25 first. You get Neighbors and Achane. I'm one of the 2 to 3 contenders. Other 2 teams have 0 first for next 3 years. Move off Love for depth at skill positions or stay liquid. What sucks about this one is obviously Luck is hurt now, and he wasn't at the time of this question. So it's pretty jacked, right? Unless I'm jacked.
Go back to the first part. There you go. Allen, Love, Cousins, Rodgers, Brees. So he was trading for Love. No, he was trading Love. Well, I'm sure that trade has gone away.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I'll say this: if it's make sure he hasn't withdrawn the trade, and if he hasn't, go hit accept. And if he complains or she complains, oh well, suck it up. That's life.
Yeah. So first off,
we might want to. Yeah, why don't PlayTrunk? You're going to want to reach out to us on this and just give us an update on. Even
PlayTrunk. PlayTrunk 16.
Well, neighbors over any non-top 3 or 4 quarterback in this format. Period.
Yes.
It's a 10-teamer. Who cares about Jordan Love in this format? So that was already a given, and you're getting Achane for a first. I mean, it's easy for me. Now, you don't feel as good about Kirk Cousins now as your QB2, but, I mean, if there's a recension of the question for a better one or a more updated one, then fine. But I think the Neighbors for Love deal, and yes, recension is a deal, is a word.
Absolutely not. I'm challenging that. If we were playing Scrabble,
I'm looking it up.
100% Scrabble. I am 100% challenging that. That's a Scrabble challenge.
Okay, while you're looking it up, PlayTrunk 16. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/trades-in-5. One sec, Scott. buymeacoffee.com/trades-in-5, and you can comment on your hammer and just refresh it for us on there. Go ahead, Scott.
I combined 2 words. You can use the word rescind, or you can use the word rescission. I combined the 2.
You can't. That's a shame thing.
Incredible.
What in the hell? I have not made up. I've not made up a single word this evening, and Scott's on here just absolutely stealing my whole shtick of not being able to speak English. Not cool. Anyway,
let's at least do this though. Let's look at the team. I don't want to just.
No,
we can't do it.
It's literally.
I was trying to give him current value for his question that's old. But yeah, apologies there. So the next one is from.
No, I was just gonna ask: would you give up Josh Allen for Devon Achane and Malik Neighbors in a 10x10, Shane?
Give up Josh Allen. This was a super flex or 1 QB, by the way.
It was a super flex.
I'm giving up Josh Allen.
But I'm getting back Malik Neighbors and Devon Achane in a 10-teamer.
No.
You only have Kirk Cousins, and then
I'm just throwing it out there. You're now starting starting the Achilles twins.
Josh Allen, and I don't mean this as a slight. Well, I was a little angry after Friday's game. But Josh Allen is what I hope Hurts is, or in my mind, that's what he is. But he's not that. He is not that. Like Josh
so would
Allen,
you give up Jordan Love and Malik Neighbors for Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of other ways we can help him with the question, because now we know he is stuck on a Jordan Love that is going to be out a couple games, and it's a 10-teamer.
Sucks.
Maybe you add Neighbors to Love and see if you can get if you could duplicate Josh Allen and just have 2 of those, Shane, would you pretty much pay whatever it takes?
Yes. But I got to say this, Scott. So I do listen. I'm like you. No, I don't listen to as many, but I do listen to a lot of podcasts. And I've heard really conflicting reports on how long Love is going to be out and how good he'll be when he gets back. And not any of them being doctors. for any of the podcasts that I listen to, all NFL legit podcasts, and everyone's just talking out of their ass like they know because they're on a national.
He's definitely out 2 games. It's definitely 2. The word is he wants to play in week 4, but I think the point is, like, he's an asset right now that if you could move for another elite asset, there is some risk that he returns. And I mean, I'll give Jeff Mueller a shout out. He said, yeah, he could return in week 4 with a huge brace and he won't be able to move. So, okay. Do you really want him in a 10-teamer if that's the case? I mean, I don't know.
Gonna have to do some love shopping. You could see it. You could see it in him. I don't know. This is speaking from the guy.
You're doing some love shopping, Clay? Where is that going to be at? What site?
Bro, that's
dating app.
Love shopping on the TG.
What consenting adults do amongst themselves is fine, but you're not allowed to do it on the internet because that's you violate, like, what's that, when you go across state lines? Yeah, don't do that. You get in trouble for that.
Don't do that on the internet.
Yeah, because then you change pupils are dilated. Sorry. Get.
All right, wasn't sure if you were continuing on. Let's quit while you're behind here. Okay, let's go to this one. 3 hammers from Havertz. Scott, this is a 12-team Superflex PPR. Start 2 tight end, start 12, and it's 1.75 for them. 33-man rosters. So deep format here, fun format. Purdy, Lamar, and 7 backups at quarterback. Mostert, Ford, Jaleel, and Trash at running back. A.J. Brown, Waddle, Diojon, Addison, Godwin, Palmer. Also has Nuke there. Kelsey, Freiermuth at tight end. 425 first, 2 seconds. First year of the league. Unsure on whether to try and get the 101 now or see how it looks after a few game weeks. Maybe move picks. League doesn't seem to appreciate the need for depth in this format. Thoughts on the construction? So let me clean it up. 12-team Superflex PPR. It's start 12, and 2 of those are tight ends, and they're at a 1.75 PPR. What are you doing here, Scott?
Well, I mean, it is a 12 by 12. It's 33-man rosters. So really hone in on maximizing every roster spot. We talked about this earlier. If you are a team that doesn't really care about the outcome this year, you should be grinding every single spot. With that said, the league may not value depth today because it's week 1. But there will be a time where somebody will want a Jaleel McLaughlin or Jerome Ford or Raheem Mostert or one of these players. I mean, Josh Palmer, potentially, Nuke Hopkins. I mean, there's a bunch of assets here that you probably want to move by the end of the year, but you may have to wait. Because I think and this is where I think the challenge of Dynasty is really becoming evident in some leagues like this, is there's very little Dynasty evaluation that goes on in leagues anymore. It is, do I care about the week? Yes or no? And I don't know if you guys are noticing it, but Shane, have you noticed there's some leagues where there's just 3 or 4 teams that already do not care?
Yeah.
They just are going through the motions. They'll set their lineup. You really can't tell if they're contending or not. But as soon as you fish them to an offer of like, here, I'm going to give you this player that you could put in your lineup, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
So you're already down to like maybe 8 or 9 teams out of 12 in a league that care. But then if that person can set their lineup adequately, they don't need what you're selling them that week. If they have a hole, then sure. But and I can't argue with it because I'm the same way. Someone will offer me a player and it's like, here, I'll offer you Jerome Ford this week. I like him. He's probably going to score some more points, but I look at my lineup and I go, hey, you know what? I'll hold on to that second because I have this other guy and I'll just start him. And that's Dynasty. There's very little like I'm projecting Jerome Ford or this other running back I'm starting ahead of him of anything more than like a week or 2 ahead. So I do think you have to take advantage. You have to be the Dollar General that is open 24 hours when somebody needs paper plates for the picnic they're going to go on. And that's the only place to get them. Like you have to be the person that is willing to sell pretty much everything at all times to the people that need it. They just may not need it today. So we could sit here and say, oh yeah, sell everybody you have.
Yeah.
But who does
Unsure
anybody
on
really want?
whether to try to get the 101 now or see how it looks after
What
a
is
few games. Maybe
What does
move
that
picks.
mean, Shane?
What does
Get
that
the
look like?
101 now. They just dump everything at half off.
Blowing this
What?
thing up. I don't know.
That means I'm
Blow
selling
up.
AJ Brown and Waddle for cheap. Godwin.
Blow it
Oh,
up.
Godwin, fine. Well, yeah. I mean,
But
really,
those guys aren't killing your points. What's killing your points is Jaleel McLaughlin, Jerome Ford, those
Godwin.
guys.
well, no. Those are killing your. Yeah, those are the ones killing your points and aren't useful in the future.
Correct.
So they're a double-edged sword. Like AJ Brown putting up 40 points. I'm still not going to win a week with Waddle and AJ Brown, even if they put up 60. But these little son of a bitch like Ford and Jaleel, and they just decide, well, guess what? I'm going to pop off for 30 this week too. And you're like, you son of a bitch.
Can I trade Travis Kelce and Jaleel McLaughlin for David Njoku in a second?
Go for it. Do it.
Can I trade Brock Purdy for Jordan Love? Can I make pivot deals where I'm getting the guys that are not playing? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sure. Definitely.
Do
All right. Thank you for those 3 hammers, Havertz. Much appreciated. We keep on moving here. We don't stop. It is 9:43 though. I haven't addressed the crowd. We're only on YouTube tonight. There are 172 eyeballs in here.
Dude, and we
172
didn't even
beautiful eyeballs.
we didn't even tweet out we were doing it or anything.
People can come. People know where to find us. I'm not lagging. You're still lagging though.
I'm still lagging.
So
Right.
maybe it wasn't the Twitter machine's fault.
I'm going
but
to bed.
would people think we'd be taking off this Tuesday of any Tuesday? Okay, so let's go to Twitter use LOL. A hammer from them, from him, her. Shane, 12 team 1 QB PPR start 9. You all are the best. First off, thank you. Inbox offer. I'm a competitor, one of 2 super teams. Should I send Swift late 25 first, late 25 second, and a 26 second for Achane? Team includes Bijan, Taylor, Henry at running back, Hill, Lamb, AJB at wide receiver. And that's the last part. So 12 team 1 QB start 9 PPR. This is Shane first, technically, but
You go, Scott.
I mean, it is a 12x9, 1 QB. The firsts are devalued. The seconds are used for exactly a deal like this, right? What else can I get with those seconds by throwing them in? I'm okay with it. This is your bet. Now, if Achane misses 12 games and he's just constantly injured, then that's the bet you're making. But his usage was incredible in week 1.
It was sublime.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm doing this because Swift's usage was not. The whole team was bad. I don't think it's Swift is completely dead, but I think you are coloring up here in a 1 QB using picks and a running back that probably is past his peak in terms of anybody wanting him. So, yeah, I'm fine doing this deal.
Yeah, Chain got the 2 red zone carries or green zone. What's it when you're in the 5? Is that the green zone?
Green zone.
Green zone, yeah. So you got the 2, or excuse me, you didn't get the carries. You got both the snaps in the green zone for whatever that's worth. Ton of targets. He looked like he was the primary back. Now they're still going to rotate other guys in. And DeAndre Swift is he does not matter in this format. He's fine as like a guy that's on my bench, like if I'm going 0 RB, but in a setup like this, I like a running back like Achane.
So, Scott, let's go to 3 hammers from Casey. Thank you very much. This is a 12-team Superflex PPR 1.5 for the tight end, start 10. Kyler, Watson, Geno at quarterback. ETN, Ramondre, Mostert, Chubb, Ford at running back. Pitts, Debo, Cooper, Kirk, BTJ, Polk at wide receiver. McBride at tight end, has all the picks. Gave Metcalf, Jalen Wright, Gus Bus. Got a late 25 first and ETN. Says thoughts, and then there's another trade here, but let's start with that one, Scott. It's a 12-team Superflex, start 10, small tight end premium. Gave DK, Jalen Wright, Gus Bus. Got a late 25 first and ETN.
So in a 12x10 Superflex, if you can get a 25 first for DK Metcalf, that's fine. But then you turned Jalen Wright and Gus Edwards into Travis Etienne. which I'm not even saying Travis Etienne is somebody that I want to hold, but like the deal is a smash. What's on the screen? Go to the next one because then we're coming into.
Yeah, so I'll read it here.
Yeah, hopefully he did this deal because if not, it is definitely not available after week 1.
It was, would you give Chubb and get Tank Bigsby in a 25-second? Or would you hold out to get more for Chubb? Appreciate you guys.
Shane, are you getting laughed at if you send this offer today?
Me? Probably.
No, anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah, just not to talk about life in general. But yeah, probably.
Shane, do you get laughed at on a daily basis?
That's he was like, yeah, yesterday or this morning.
He walks into the Dunkin' Donuts every morning, and the teller just laughs.
Just points at.
They see him walking in, and they go, "That guy again," and just laughs. Oh, this is the highlight of his day, and the reality is, it is the highlight of Shane's day when he walks in there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
he peaks early in the morning.
Shane, what's the deal with? I mean, Tank Bigsby was like the worst running back in the league last year, and now he looks like one of the best. Well, what is him and J-Mo coming around to be like super studs in week 1? What is going on?
So, I mean, I guess the usage for Travis Etienne this week actually kind of matched what it looked like towards the end of last year. It's, sometimes we get so caught up in looking at the yearly totals, we forget to look at the weekly totals and go, oh, wait a minute, like it was trending down already. I mean, Tank Bigsby was good in college, right? We love Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, we did.
And it wasn't just his name, which like 70% of it for me was his fact that his name was Tank. And I was disheartened when I realized that's not his real name when I saw his stats. And I get confused every time I look at it. But no, he just looked better. He looks like he's going to steal early rushing down work. He's good at, but is he going to get the targets though?
Nick Chubb is not going to get the targets. So if you can get a second and another running back that is moderately usable, then that's a smash. Which I don't
running
think
back that if Travis Etienne, God forbid, something were to happen to him, all of a sudden Tank Bigsby has got a full-on role, just all to himself.
Would you do the same deal now, but it's a third instead? Would you still take Tank in a third or Chubb?
For Chubb? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm the same way. That getting a pick with a 3 or better for Chubb is fine, and getting Tank Bigsby included is also a good deal. So yeah,
no doubt. Okay, let's move to 3 hammers from Mike Martin. Scott, we'll stay with you here. 16-team Superflex, half PPR, full PPR for the tight ends, only an 8-man bench. And I said start 9, right? Maybe not. Stroud, Kyler at quarterback, JT, ETN, Saquon at running back, Tyreek, Nico, Amari, Tank. And then as Kittle, Parkinson, and Jono at tight end. 25 first, which Mike says is probably in the 3 to 5 range. 126 first and 327s. Sent CD for Tyreek and the 25 first. That again, he thinks early mid. Thoughts? Would you look to tier anything else down or wait and potentially start upgrading other places as the season shakes out? Thanks for the great content you guys put out. Thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate it. Scott, what are your thoughts here? It's a 16-team Superflex, half PPR, small tight end premium, start 9. Sent CD for Tyreek in the 25 first.
Well, 16 by 9 is 144. So it's equivalent of like a 12 by 12. So getting the Tyreek in a first, especially one that you say could be top 3, that's a pretty strong offer for CD. The only downside would be you pivoted off of CD for a 29-year-old receiver that does have some volatility. If that first ends up 109, you're going to hate the deal. In the short term, it looks like a good deal if it does end up being top 3 to 5, especially in a 16-teamer where teams may need quarterbacks. Like it does feel like it's a really valuable pick in next year's class. You just got to be careful thinking, oh, that's a top 3 pick. And then it creeps down and it's the 107. And then you're going, I typically trade my picks in 16 teamers. I'm just willing that I'm going to bet that I can get my team out of the absolute dog shit zone. It's 106, 108, 109. Even if I'm not really a contender, it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, that's the worst pick in the league. Most of our 14 and 16 teamers, that there's 2 or 3 teams that it's just negligence how they're running the team. Like you can't get lower than the 104 in some of those leagues. So why would you not trade away your picks?
That's hilarious.
Am I wrong, Shane? Isn't it hard to get to the very, very bottom in a 16 teamer if you're just moderately alive? You know what I mean?
Yes. You get into 110 every year, 109 every year. And you're like, I don't understand why I'm average.
No.
Because that guy's still rostering Andrew Luck and Antonio Brown. And it has 8 empty roster spots.
I mean,
that's
just think
the team
about
getting
that.
the 101.
Antonio Luck throwing it. Excuse me, Antonio Luck. Yeah, sure. It's about time to wrap this up. Go ahead, forget it.
We're getting there. We only have a couple more hammers left. But do we give Mike enough here for his 3 hammers? Sent CD for Hill and the 25 first?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we did. All right, rock on. Let's keep on rolling here. Let's go to log. 12-team Superflex. Thank you for your hammers. 12-team Superflex PPR 2.0 for the tight ends. Start 11. Cousins at quarterback, end of list. Ramondre, Gibbs, Brian Robinson, Chase Brown, and then JJ, JSN, Dell, Pearsall, Baker at receiver, Ben Sano at tight end. 325 first. What direction to take this roster? Buy a cheap QB and try to compete or rebuild? No. So this is a 12-team Superflex, start 11. It's 2.0 for the tight end, so tight end premium. Shane?
Yeah, no, you're rebuilding, even if you don't know it. This is you're not as bad as having Antonio Luck, like Scott was talking about, but you definitely want to go the other way with this. In a start 11, you don't have the horses to ride, man. You know, JJ obviously is superb. Dell's great. Pearsall, even though he was shot, had 2 less receptions than JSN. JSN.
You got to dump Brian Robinson and Ramondre here. They both had great games. Those are the guys you want to just try to get value for.
And it's start 11. Like, how much can I get for Gibbs? I'm not saying you have to move them. Like, I want, you got to pay me out. Like, this might be a team where I go, all right, who had Puka?
Can I get Jordan Love since my quarterbs are awful?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Your one quarterback is awful.
Yeah,
there's only Kirk Cousins on this list.
Yes, so go shop. There's a couple guys. Yeah, there's a couple guys that are already injured. Yeah, Jordan Love, Puka Nacua. So like, God has given you chances to move Gibbs for usable pieces, not just fluff. So I would say that you want to go ahead and you already have 325 first. Like, you're half in anyway. So just put the other foot in and go full rebuild.
Yeah, Scott. Anything to add here?
I'd be going after Love. I'd be seeing if I can do Cousins and Gibbs for Love in a third, something like that. Love in a second. Like try to use Gibbs to get the premier piece and then focus on some of the other pieces. But if you have to add Ramondre to something, I don't let that stop you. Even if you're like, man, Ramondre should fetch me a second and I'm not getting the second in this deal. It's the fact that you're getting the deal, which here's the way to think about it. If I'm going from the 104 to the 102 because I got rid of Ramondre Stevenson in week 2 instead of week 5, you're going to go, man, I'd love to add Ramondre Stevenson to the 104 to get the 102 next year. So you got to think about it that way. You got to get to the bottom quicker if it means you get some points off your team.
Yeah, that is a really good point right there. And generally, since it's a 12-team start 11 log, just make sure you're getting an extra piece back as part of the deal, as long as you're not overpaying for that extra piece. But you need starters to start 11. It gets gross quick. All right, thank you for those hammers. Appreciate it. We just have one left from Big. What is this? From Big Bazzotti. Thank you for the 3 hammers. Appreciate it. Shane, 12-team 1 QB, half PPR, start 10. Love, Cousins, Russ, May at quarterback. Gibbs, Henry, Tajay Spears at running back. JJ, Puka, Neighbors, Godwin, Diojon, Dobbs at wide receiver, McBride, Musgrave, Michael Mayer at tight end. Looking for general advice as the league is moving to Superflex. Feel like I can contend. Was planning to hold off to see how the first few weeks play out. Feel like I have a lot of flexibility. Thoughts on next moves? And then, okay, yep, that's it. 12 team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 10. Go ahead, Shane.
So this must have been prior to the Jordan Love injury, because this would have been too easy to go. I think you need a quarterback.
You mean prior to every quarterback you have basically having a terrible week one?
Just not a good day.
Russ couldn't play and might not play this week because of
Drake May's not going to play.
Drake May's not going to play. Although I'll say this, Jacoby Brissett was running around there like Paul Pierce at the end, man. He looked.
Love Jacoby Brissett.
Dude, he just looked like some of the shots of him, like he just had that old man, like, this hurts. Why am I doing this face? But yeah,
this was a preseason trade question because the QB room definitely looks different.
It's 1 QB anyway, but you still, even in the 1 QB, you don't have one quarterback you could start right now, which is impressive.
So let's do this. Let's address this. And Big Bizzotti, you can refresh your question on buymeacoffee.com/trades-in-5. Looking for general advice as the league is moving to Superflex. So let's just look at the format and look at this team. It's moving to Superflex, so let's get out ahead of it.
Well, obviously you only have one quarterback that you could count on. You can't even count on because he hasn't played. But there's one quarterback I feel good about. It's May. Obviously, the rest of these quarterbacks are not.
I feel okay about Love. In the future in Superflex.
Sorry, I just overlooked him again. I'm sorry. Yes, Love and May. But if you wanted to add another quarterback to the room, because it is going to be Superflex and May is a rookie, I'd be looking at like. Well, no, I was going to say, what could Gibbs get me? Because it's one quarterback right now. It's one quarterback right now. Like Scott brought him up earlier. Can I just trade Gibbs for Josh Allen in this league? Now, I don't know how sharp.
Is he winning with the team he has, Shane? With Puka down, with Love down? I mean, do you really care about this year? So you're saying try to get ahead of the Superflex market and go right to the top.
Yeah.
And see if they're undervalued compared to what it would be next year in a 12x10 Superflex.
Yep.
I like that. I didn't even think of that. That's try to take advantage of you probably aren't winning this year. So get the hammer QB for next year at the 1.5 QB price like it probably is right now.
And to be honest, you're giving a good commodity in a one quarterback league. Gibbs is a very good commodity for this year in that setup. He's obviously more valuable than than Allen. But next year, he's still valuable. Obviously not Allen, but that's the trade-off. If I'm the person that's trading Josh Allen, that I would look at and go, well, you know what? If it can help me win a title this year, maybe I do this. Do this.
What Scott, you're a good fit to ask this question as a Bengals fan, but like what's the Burrow? What's the Burrow play right here? If you wanted to, it's moving to Superflex. What can get you Burrow that would make sense?
Man, I think you can get him cheaper than Josh Allen. I think it's just take the Superflex price and see what you can get at a cheaper price. I mean, can you move Derrick Henry and Chris Godwin to get one of those Superflex QBs? Yeah. I think Shane didn't say it, but I think the obvious is that if you have one of these teams that has like CJ Stroud and Lamar Jackson, like that's the team that you want to get their price check on their QBs for this year. They may be able to win the league this year if they get X quarterback for, or they give you X quarterback for one of your stud skill players.
Gibbs,
Next year they're going to regret it, but they may win the league because they have another QB to sell and they're willing to fade the future quarterback setting.
And as part of deals, are you trying to get like backup quarterbacks thrown in? I mean, we'd like to do that where possible anyway, but
I can't imagine they're even rostered. It's a 1 QB. Like that's definitely another thing, Clay. That's a great point.
Check your
as roster. The season's ending, you should be dropping your cans for the backup QBs that nobody has ever valued in the league. But as soon as the clock strikes midnight, and it's super flex, you're going to go, oh, I'm glad I picked up the next Sam Darnold and I had him for free because it wasn't a super flex yet.
Yeah. Good stuff there. So we are at 10:02. We made it to the mark. I think all three of us were yawning at one time. No. But thank you to the eyeballs that are in here, 166 beautiful eyeballs joining us tonight. Be sure to hit that like, easiest way to help out this channel here. Guys, would you like to say good night to the crew, and the YouTube machine is going to send this out to more people?
Good night. I'm very tired. Have a great evening.
Good show. I got the juices flowing a little bit with this now that we have new data to go on. So looking forward to kind of continuing to see what the season brings us. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight.
Indeed. I'm going to end this stream. We will see you soon. Hit that subscribe if you aren't already. We got 2 Dynasty Trades and 5-minute shows coming out. We'll see you soon. Bye.